Welcome back. Aligning with success. And what does that mean? That means getting our ducks in a row and piggyback off the frequency of success, drawing it into our lives and people around us who will support and celebrate the concept. I love that Luis Kasuga shared more than on one occasion, but the past weekend at the Master Day, his definition of success, which of course is my definition of success, which I got from Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale subsequently before that. And that is, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. A worthy ideal, by definition, when I asked Bob Proctor what he meant by that, he said, a worthy ideal is something you would trade your life for. So what's worthy of your life? What's an exchange that's worthy of your life force, your time? And so when I saw Niken being driven, the purpose and the pursuit of success in Niken is to achieve a life in balance, where we're experiencing a healthier body, family, society, finances, mind. That pursuit is by far the best pursuit one could ever engage in their life. So the pursuit of balance and the 5 pillars of health in my worldview is the ideal, and it is most certainly worthy of my life. So success, therefore, is the pursuit of balance in the 5 pillars. So every minute of every day that you're making choices that align with the pursuit of that balance in any and all of those 5 areas of life, you're living a successful life. So it's not something you're working toward in the future. It is actually the moment in time that you are aligned with the worthy pursuit. So I think that definition is the healthiest definition, because it puts us square in the middle of decisions at every minute of our life. We're either in alignment with success or we're not. We're either in the pursuit of balance or not. We're either a success based on our alignment or not. And it's pretty easy to see when you have that kind of a compass, whether or not you're on track. What's your true north? So, Niken, because I so strongly resonated with this vision and this definition, is why I have been forever more captivated by pursuing Niken as a vocation, a passion, a spiritual outlet, even, because I feel that it is the most noble thing I can do. It's the one place that's given me an all-round way to live and be in alignment with the very definition of success that I adhere to. And by the way, for those of you who know me, know that I have very deep spiritual roots. So where is God in all of this? Well, if I'm an expression of the Creator, as is everything, then God is in all this every time, everywhere. So there's no absence of that, and I certainly give acknowledgement to that on occasion. So thanks for joining, everybody. Those of you who just joined us a little bit later, and those of you watching the playback. We had an amazing weekend this weekend, with Master Day being a very significant moment in our trajectory in Niken, not only in 2024, but Niken Corporate as a corporation. I think we are at the beginning, the precipice, if you would, of a new and exciting movement in Niken. So it was all about an introduction to a few key concepts, including a product that would bring alignment to the field. It was focused on the field, for the field, to bring alignment in the field, so that we have a very clear direction and are able to leverage the mechanisms in Niken to be a vehicle for the pursuit of balance in our lives and to share that with others. So first of all, Let me just do a very, very quick recap, because there are some action steps if you haven't already taken them. All of this is being aligned and directed to March 9th as a public announcement, so to speak, where we are hopefully going to be hosting, each of us on this call will be either directly hosting or participating in the hosting of a launch party, a live in-person event, where people will have an opportunity to experience, learn more about the Nikken product, the new product, and which is, of course, here, got my sample out here, the pink collagen complex. And what's so exciting about this product, if you're on that call, is it is a unique product, but more than that is how people react to it. All I had to say to my family was that Nikken's, and friends even, that Nikken's launching a collagen product. I'm in, like, I want it. They don't even know what it is. They don't even know what's special about it, and they already want it. And some of them already admitted that they're taking a collagen product, so it seems to be like a no-brainer. This is new to me, but it doesn't seem to be new to a lot of people. So I think what we have is something very attractive, very compelling, and easy for people to adopt. It's not going to be a hard sell. People will simply adopt it if they understand the value. What I really liked was the testimonials. So we had 2 testimonials on Saturday's call. One from Jeff, who said his gum health has improved according to his dentist. And of course, that's because there's so much of the connective tissue in the gums, and that's an important part of our healthy gums. The other one was Annalisa, who had been taking the product for 4 weeks in the beta test. And she said 7 ladies at her gym made very interesting comments about her change in look. And what I really, really liked was how much she was beaming, the smile that she had on her face while she was sharing this testimony. So, it was real. It was authentic, because that's how you would beam if 7 people noticed how good you were looking. And so what I like about that is, and I was saying this to a call, Leo's call about an hour ago, I said, if you had the presentation that we heard from Joy Sao, I guess, who is one of the speaker on the call and the R&D person for the product, if you had her presentation versus a handful of those types of testimonies, which of those 2 do you think would have greater impact on potential customers and potential distributors joining your team? And the answer, I think you'd all agree, is the stories, the testimonies. So give me a second, Barb, and I'll cut you in. So the reason why I bring this up is because we're right now charged as business entrepreneurs, as leaders in Nikken, with a role to play in the rolling out of this plan. And so that is to be a launch host. Number 1, to do that, you need to have purchased your launch pack, your party pack. If you haven't done that, do it immediately, because what the purpose of that is, why we were first invited to learn about this as consultants, is the idea of gathering up those stories in time for the March 9 launch. And who are those stories going to be? They're ours, you, me, and whoever else you want to share your party pack with, to get stories built up over the next 4 weeks, starting February 7th, when they actually ship. You'll have an opportunity to get people on the product to gather up stories for your March 9th event. So you want those people obviously at your March 9 in-home, and that's going to be a higher probability of that happening if you've got some people using the products. So I bought 3 of those packs because I need 9 people, including myself, on the product to be able to share firsthand testimonial of how great the product is, or what specifics they have, because I know that will be an authentic story that will have much greater impact than any of the information that we can provide about, how great this product is and what's in it. So I think that's a smart way to approach this launch. And so the month of February is where we experience the product, gather our own stories. So take a before and after picture. Make sure you do this. Best thing to do is try to get the same photos before and after, meaning same background, same lighting, even the same clothes if possible. But you want a before and you want an after. Use the same camera. Do it as much as you can to replicate the before and the after shot, so that you have gathered this data, because this is going to sell the whole thing. It's going to sell it for you without having to be convincing anybody of anything. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Barbara, first Barbara Richmond.
Thanks, Mike. On our ATR call today, there was something very interesting. You all know about Randy Rolf's expertise in nutrition. Well, not only is she an expert in nutrition, but she had been exploring collagen. I had been exploring collagen from other wellness companies because I was wanting a collagen product, but I didn't have the confidence to order from anybody else. So when I spoke with Luis in Toronto, I asked him if we could have a product, because I'd have no qualms about taking a product that Niken produced, because they always produce a quality product. Well, on today's ATR, I was blown away with the information on Saturday. But Randy Rolf had been working with Annalisa for a year and a half on the flights, you know, that we were all divided into different flights. A year and a half, and Randy did not recognize Annalisa on the master day on Saturday. She thought it was somebody entirely different.
Family, maybe.
Until she looked at the name on the Zoom call or the webinar, and she saw that it was Annalisa, and then she looked a little more closely. Blew her away. A year and a half of working with this person, and she didn't recognize her after 4 weeks. I thought that was dramatic.
Exciting. Very exciting. Thank you. Barb Bertucci.
Hey, Mike, you know, there's some shifting going on, and I just want to own it or put it out there in the room. And I don't know if it's happening in other places than that, but, and Leo, maybe you can speak to this or address it, but people have a little apprehension about getting out there or opening up their home or whatever that is. So I've shifted it to a degree, Mike, and you know, and I'm new to this area and such, but I've asked 2 people that I've met that I align with, right? We have similar beliefs and such, to host an event for me. And would they be willing? And they said they would love to host an event for me. And one we're doing in the afternoon. I personally like to do coffees and daytime events. I don't know why, but I do. And so the other one is, she goes, oh, well, I'm up the mountain and I don't know if people want to come that far. And I said, yeah, but you've got friends that live up the mountain, you know, because I'm now asking them, Mike, to invite their friends over.
Great strategy.
Experience this with me. And they're fine with that. They're amazing, because I'm coming at it from an educational thing. And, you know, we're going to educate, we're going to let you know. And then, yes, I'll make an offer, and then we'll have coffee, tea, whatever, and people can talk to me. I'll have a iPad or a computer set up if people want to sign up as a customer, but it's fine with me either way. Both of the ladies at this moment do not want to upgrade either, because I offered that to them as well. And I said, well, I just want to put that little nugget out there. You know, you could figure out a way to earn your own products, have your own skincare, and start getting some of these amazing technologies in your home for practically nothing. And so, you know, we've always done that, Mike, where we plant the seed. And so I'm planting that seed of, well, what if you did this? And what if you had that? And then Louise capped it off beautifully with the legacy, right? Giving it to our kids or giving it to our most of our kids, I'm sorry, don't even want to deal with this at all. Not mine. But maybe my grandkids might want it, or they might want to have an extra income while they're in college or something down the road. But, that's the potentiality of this. So, but we have to plant the seed and let it be their decision, not ours. So all we do is we drop those nuggets, hope they pick them up and start chewing on them and thinking about them. But what better way than to ask them if they'd host you a party, a gathering? And so I just want to put that out there.
That's brilliant. I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
That's excellent. Man, you just expanded my mind. So I'm making notes here. So I'm going to start thinking about how to do exactly that with the people I'm going to have on beta test on the products, so that maybe they're the ones who are going to be happy to host, because they're going to have experienced the benefit. So it's not going to be just one event. I could have 9 separate events. That's really cool. Really, really cool. I like that. Thanks for jumping in on that. So, so I wanted to just gather you, refamiliarize you, or just get you to understand that timeline, the sequence of things as to how they could play out. So February becomes a very important month where the seeds are being planted and you're starting to get those roots growing. We have March 9th as the big event. So what you want to do as your game plan is A, get your party pack, B, register your launch. I know I haven't even done that yet, but I've got the links out on the WhatsApp chat, so you can register your launch so that Nikan can, we want to paint North America pink. So the only way we're going to do that is if we register launches. And I see numbers inside the image that was posted today. Does that mean that's how many launch sites there are in a particular province or state? Saw 15 in BC. Is that the way they're doing that? Anyway, I don't know, but I will definitely figure that out.
Mike, I think it's the number of people that you expect, because I registered and said 15, so it's the number of guests.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's what that number explains. Okay, good. That's great, because we'll get an understanding too of how this is going to roll out as you see those numbers build. Guys, this is a really great strategy that Nikan's employing to create a story. A whole business, any business starts with a story. And as Luis pointed out, we could build a company from the ground up on this one product. I know pretty much 99% of the network marketing companies that were born with one product. Not even a product line, just a single product. So we've got something here that could actually be the reason for a company becoming a multi-billion-dollar company. If you look at some of the cosmetic companies and things like that out there in the retail environment, where they started with, one item, one product, one cologne, one something, and built a brand around that. Today, they're multinational, multi-billion-dollar brands. So guys, we have the ingredient. We have more than that. We have much to follow up on with people who are, if they're interested in collagen, they're interested in reverse aging. They're interested in looking youthful, staying youthful, and staying healthy. You add now the repertoire of Nikan products as an ancillary follow-up to maintaining that relationship and building on that relationship. You got an endless stream of connectivity, contact, cash flow that is a barn buster of a business. So more than ever now, we're creating the seeds of excitement to plant for the business opportunity, which is fortified with the We Accelerate bonus. And as I said on previous calls, in my entire Nikan history, which is 33 years plus, we've never had this kind of money on the table for sponsoring. We've had bonuses, not on this level. So what Nikan is doing is they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're saying, we want to grow the base of entrepreneurs and business builders, and we're going to give you the means to do it. We're going to give you the incentives to draw people to attention, to draw people to the opportunity. So there's money on the table. There's a new product. It's an exciting product. It's an easy product to talk about. Of course, when you then cross promote, you combine that with the waterfall. So make sure you have your waterfall as your source of water at all of your in-homes, at all of your launch sites, because clearly that will speak to that as well, the idea of water. Let's see, Barbara.
Something else that was mentioned on this morning's meeting was there are people that are not liking the term anti-aging. And as Kimball Sargent said, she said, well, you know what anti-aging is, don't you? It's death. So she said, why don't we represent it as aging with vitality or looking vibrant as we age? Just changing the terminology to be more positive and interesting, creating curiosity instead of everybody's using the word anti-aging. Why do we have to use it? Why don't we be different and present it as a really positive, uplifting experience to be using our product?
Absolutely. Healthy aging. I mean, we're all aging.
There's so many terms
other.
we can use.
Exactly. So age with grace and health and vitality. That's all positive. And listen, you're going to get people's attention when you start talking about this. So what I would start doing right now is that, remember we talked about this, the buzz, the whisper campaign. It's time to do the whisper campaign. It's time to find some people to do some beta tests with besides yourself, because those could be potential seeds for an in-home for them to host. And definitely get your pack ordered or packs ordered. Think of it in multiples. This is a business investment. It is a tax write-off, and you're planting the seeds for your consumers, your testimonials, what is a good testimonial worth? I want you to don't even answer that. Just think about this. If your business has been promoted until now based on your story, your testimonial, what's a testimonial worth? It's whatever you've earned and what you're going to earn because of it still. So a good Nikan story, good Nikan testimonial is worth gold. So if you're creating that by sponsoring a pack for somebody to try for a month, that's good business. That's just smart business. That's how people use influencers. Influencers receive from the company that my daughter Savannah is constantly getting stuff sent to her because they want her to go on social media to do what it is she does there to promote their thing, because they know that if she likes, and she, by the way, she's going to be the eyes. You're going to see her eyes in all the Sephora stores, those of you who know that brand, because she did something with respect to her skin and that particular thing that she was promoting, and they picked it up, signed a contract, paid her some big bucks, and that presto. Why? Because what's a story worth? A good, real, authentic story is gold. So we want to create stories, use the opportunity of February. Remember, the packs are sent on February 7th, so you'll be getting them between the 7th and the 10th. And so then you'll have them on hand for a full month before the launch of March 9th. So you'll have your stories intact by then. So that's the strategy, guys. You got to get your packs shipped on the 7th. So that means you got to get your order in now before the end of the month. All right. So there's the strategy. So February is when you're going to create that buzz, that story, because now you got people trying the product, including yourself. Connie.
I have kind of a technical question. I ordered 2 of the packs, and I've registered to have a launch in my area, LaGrange, suburb of Chicago. My daughter Pam, who's also a consultant, wants to have it. I want to have mine at about 11 o'clock in the morning when we have our, official whatever. But I want to, she wants to have it in the evening so they can have wine, okay, at her home. And I will drive up to help present with that. Will the recording of the daytime thing be out so I can show part of it there? Do you know yet or
I
anything?
don't know, but
Okay.
Connie, if you want, that's a question for Jeff. Have him,
Okay.
because I find that Nikan's responsive, so to
Right.
requests like that. So you might say, Jeff, we're hosting at this time. Can we get the playback by this time? So he knows to schedule that in his day for that
Okay.
date to make sure he's got the recording available for everybody. That's a great idea. And obviously they responded because when we, right in the middle of that presentation by, what's her name again? Joy. I was texting Jeff, said, we need that presentation on its own ASAP. And you saw how quick it got out, right? It came out like within an hour or two of the master day. So yeah, they definitely can do it. Because they're probably going to record it. And then once it's uploaded to YouTube, they can give you the link that starts it at the segment that you want it to start
Okay.
at. Cool. Yeah. Good ideas, everybody.
I'm
Okay,
back.
so yeah, Barbara,
Back again with another idea. Sorry, Mike.
shoot.
No, I'm not sorry. I just want to share.
Sorry, not sorry.
February, this is the first time Nikan has ever let the cat out of the bag. We know about our product launch March 9th. We have February, which is Valentine's month. And I believe that if we're getting our things shipped out on the 7th, we should have it that second week of February. And we should all have sneak peek, find out about it, and then have them have their own launches on March 9th. Or I was even trying to think of, Mike, of really interesting competition, right? We used to have a drawing where if they brought one guest, they got one. If they got two, they got that. If they bought a pack, they got another chance. And I don't know what they're winning, but right now that's what I'm thinking. And it might just be a water bottle. It might just be lunch with me. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? A lunch, but just make it fun and have people want to put and get tickets in the raffle, right? And so I just think, and it could be winning the 5-pack, right? The 5-pack giveaway. Although you want them to buy
That's
30.
really good. You're talking about incentives. I got one too, incentives to host. So you could offer somebody who hosts an event an incentive. You can offer at the event people who, I don't know what's going to be packaged, but you could start thinking in advance for people who purchase something as an incentive for a raffle. So for instance, a big prize could be a waterfall, maybe a supplement, a secondary prize, or your primary prize could be a sport bottle. That way, you got the Pi Mag water to use to mix with your pink collagen when you get your pink collagen order in. There's a couple of ideas.
You got 2 shaker cups, so you could raffle off one of the shaker cups.
There you go.
But if they sign up for auto ship for the collagen, that's 3 tickets in the pack.
There's another one.
There's all these really great. I like to make up games to make it fun.
You know what, Barbara, you're so good at it. Why don't you start writing this down and send it out on the chat? Just one little document, one little note that, incentives to drive your launch event.
Okay.
It's great. It's that way we have more people with access to it, because not everybody's going to watch this video. Great stuff. You're hired. Okay. All right. So I was saying,
I volunteer you.
we accelerate. I'm going to talk a little bit about the business of the business in a minute. But there is one other thing that I was asked to mention and to remind everybody about, and that is we also have right now the water filter replacement and air filter replacement incentive. So how do we maximize that, which ends in February? How do we maximize that incentive? What are some of you doing right now as a reach out campaign? One of the things that we learned, and Barbara, you posted that, I posted your video, so I hope you've all watched it. If you haven't watched it, on all the chats, I posted Barbara's little 2-minute video, 60-second video on how to identify the people who purchased a waterfall or an air filter. You can actually identify customers that have purchased a waterfall or an air unit. So you can identify customers by the product order. Maybe you can recap for us on this, Barbara, here. And then you now have a list that you can then call and say, hey, did you know? And now you might move 1, 2, 5, 10. I don't know how many customers you have, but there's one thing I'm learning, and I'm learning this pretty quickly. I sent out 275 emails with respect to the event on Saturday. And I got 3 people reply. And I sent those emails out twice, and they were slightly different, so they knew that it was a different email. So what did I learn? It doesn't matter if they're on your list. It doesn't matter if you have their email. If you're not actually picking up the phone and reaching out to them, it doesn't matter. People have tuned out all types of email. People are being email blasted left, right, and center. So even though I regret we don't have the email blast capacity on our back office right now, I just learned it may not be relevant anyways. So, but what I do have now is a contact list of 275 names. In other words, I have not cold prospects, not hot prospects, but definitely warm prospects, because they're in the system. They have an ID number. They know Niken, they know the brand. And now, if all they had was a little bit of attention and therefore the opportunity to get some education, you could see how quickly that could turn into something. So I now have a prospect list, because I'm not starting from zero with these people, but they're people who, if they knew what we now know with what's going on, I think would be rather interested, perhaps even excited. But why they don't know is because they're not checking their emails, or they're not interested in emails as a way of communicating. So get a genealogy report, get a customer report, get a genealogy report, and look at that as your immediate source of contacts, because there's a lot of people out there that you think is getting the information, and I can promise you they are not. One person, one of them who wrote back, said, I haven't heard from anybody in 6 years. How is that even possible if they're in the Niken genealogy? Because they're not checking their emails. That's why. So I'm telling you, we have people in our already network who could be reactivated or activated if they had any insight as to what's actually going on. And of course, part of that is going to be your enthusiasm, the strength of your enthusiasm about what's going on right now. So I wanted to bring that up. Barbara, again, real quick, can you give us a lowdown on how do we find we go into our back office?
And I believe Suzanne Steele's coming on my Niken Live Thursday morning at 11 Eastern Standard Time to show us. We're trying to get, how Frank has a fake back office.
Yeah.
We're trying to get that. But you go into business, then you go into reports, and then you go to the drop-down menu. And
on the left-hand side, there's a drop-down menu.
Yeah, a little arrow drop down, and it says search customer list, and then it says search by item. And you put the item in there. Now, the trick is, believe it or not, you can only
Hang on a second, back up. First, you go to business, then you go to reports, and then what report do you select?
By item.
Search by
item or product name.
So, okay, so you're searching what? Customers? You're searching, what are you searching?
Searching the item number.
So
you're searching, I searched the waterfall, I searched the Kinko Air, the Kinko Pro and the all the Air Pro and the
Okay.
shower hill. Wait, the shower.
Each one is separate, right? Each search
Yeah,
was separate.
each one's separate. But and then I did the water packs because
Oh, good
sometimes
point. Yeah.
but the interesting thing is, Mike, you can only do a year at a time. So you
Okay.
have to put like January 2nd to the 1st of the next year, or the 1st to the 2nd of the next year. And then just go in and change the item number for all those years. And then you can download the report.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, a few of my people, and it might have been when we were changing systems or whatever, they have like four things. So you look over at the item number, at the order number. If the order number's different, which happened twice, Mike, I went in there and somebody bought a system for somebody else in like Connecticut. So there I have their address, their phone number. I don't have their email, but I got their phone number. And so now I have another lead to follow up on products that were shipped from somebody else. So that was pretty cool.
When you get this list, is it just customers that show up, or does it include your downline?
It's anybody who bought. That's a really good question. It should be anybody who bought one, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't believe any of my consultants came up in there.
I think it's just your customers and your frontline consultants.
I believe that's
your
probably
customers, personal customers, and frontline.
There was a few guys, I had no clue who the heck they were. I'm like, who the heck?
Okay, well, so now you guys have homework. After tonight's call or tomorrow, go and get the reports.
See it done. Come on Nikan Live on Thursday at 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
So
So
generate those reports, and then what you have is a contact list. People would kill for a contact list of warm contacts who are already interested in what you've got. If they have a waterfall, if they have an air unit, and they are not replacing their filters regularly, they don't have the benefit of what they bought. So it's an easy conversation to have. And I had a text actually last night from somebody who purchased an air filter, an air purifier in January of last year. And they said, I just realized that we haven't changed the filter on this thing. So thank goodness somehow they realized that, and they decided that they need to change that. I can't imagine how many people are out there that don't have their filters up to date.
I got one more thing that I'm doing.
Not only that, but they're not cleaning the filters every month, the pre-filter.
Yeah.
I have a little lady that takes care of her filter and someone else in her building. And so we set up an auto ship for every 6 months for the water filter. And every year, rocks, I believe rocks and a filter, if I'm not mistaken. So they're staggered, but we just set up 2 different auto ships, and it went out, and I didn't write her. She thanked me that it was coming automatically. So guys, just set up, and this is the way we do it now. That beautiful little flyer, whoever made it was gorgeous, of when the filters need to be changed. And I just say, I was in error. I used to say it was 6 months, 9 months. It's only 2 of you and your dog, whatever. This is the way you do it. And this is the best for optimum results. And just shoot them that photo, that little screenshot of that. And then you're not having to be the one telling them what to do or not to do. And then, so that's
good.
Auto ships are great.
I think I sent that out, but if I didn't, I'll send it out again. I have that tools thing, but I don't know if it's from the previous year's replacement filter campaign. So I will send this out through the chats. It's that one image that you're talking about. Does everybody have it already? Is that kind of redundant? Which shows
maybe in tools, Mike.
I'm in tools right now. I have them all in front of me. So I have them as individuals. I have the whole combination, and I have the individuals, which have the SKU number. So I'll forward this. Let me just shoot one out right now. Otherwise, I'm going to forget.
You know which form I'm talking about? Does anybody? It says when they're all due to be replaced.
I know the one you're talking about. It's like a chart.
Yeah, it might be a good thing to do. Say, hey, this is the reminder. This is continuing through February.
You know what? I don't think I have the one that has the whole thing. I have the individuals. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll get it out in circulation because
You
it's.
sent it out January the 4th,
I did send it out.
on January the 4th.
Okay, so Jan 4th, have a look for it on which chat?
That's on the Team Canada chat. So
So
I'm
then
assuming it's
so,
also
yeah,
on Core.
it's also on Core Consultant. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. May I switch channels now? Okay. Enough about that. So we've got our marching orders. We know what we're doing. So let me switch to a little bit of education here. By the way, let me share something with you that I do for Canada. Many years ago, Dennis and Ruth Williams used to do a monthly newsletter, and they would post opportunities for recognition. At that time, they would post checks and all kinds of interesting things. But what I noticed was it really gave us a window into what's going on in their business. So I started doing this. I had dropped out doing it for a huge amount of time, but then I picked it back up a number of years ago, a few years back. And what I did was I said, okay, what are some of the things that Niken measures? What are important metrics? Well, one is personal volume and the other one is group volume. And personal volume, I set the minimum of 500. So anybody who does 500 points of personal volume in my organization in Canada, I'm going to put them on a list, and the list goes in order of volume. So it starts with the top volume of the month, and then it goes down from there in terms of anybody over 500 points. And then there's recognition of rank advancements, and then there's that ultimate PGV report. So I do the top 10 of the PGP report, and I show them the PGV so people get an idea of the kind of volume that some of the leaders are doing in the market. Well, I have to say that in the top 1 to 3, virtually every single month I've been doing this is a name. And that name, of course, is Leo LeMay. So Leo and I seem to have this little bit of a, I got you this month, you got me this month, and so forth going on, which is kind of a healthy rivalry. But it's been very interesting because, as Leo pointed out himself, this was a prompt for him and a motivator for him. And for those of you who don't know or who weren't on the call Saturday, for the 3rd year now running, Leo is Niken's MVP for the year. So congratulations to Leo LeMay, MVP 2023. That's awesome. Yeah.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
How does it feel, Leo?
Great. That began with this part when you mentioned with this schedule every month. And I remember 3 years ago, you and me, you challenge. You first, I'm first, you see. And that's my goal, is every month to be top on the 3 or 5 maximum, okay? And that's I'm so motivated to be MVP every month.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good indication of MVP. So there's 2 things that come from this. One is, what can you do to create some type of a recognition on your own for you and your team? And don't undersell that, because who knows, you might inspire your next diamond to actually make some moves. And 2, Leo has an objective on a monthly basis. So this helps keep the goal and the resetting of the goal monthly. So it's not just a wish or a whim. So setting monthly goal achievements are critical. We went through this exercise in the last call, or the last 2 calls, where I asked people to show up and tell us their goals. And then I would give them a grading as to whether or not I believed that they were really going to achieve those goals. They were really honest about that. I didn't do it on this call. I don't think we had enough time to do it all. I did do it with Leo's team, and I graded them, but it also gave me an opportunity to coach them on their goals. And I mentioned last week how some people were afraid to set goals just because they didn't want to feel the feeling of not achieving the goal. And I said, well, you missed the entire point. So let me share the story that I shared with the group. I said, let's say you have a 5-year-old niece, nephew, son, grandson, and they're at home one day and you catch them studying, or you catch them doing something. You ask them, what are you doing? And they say, I'm studying. What are you studying? I'm studying math. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have a math test tomorrow, and I want to get an A, but I keep getting a C. And so what would your advice to that 5-year-old be, or that grade 5 student be at that moment? What would you tell them? Would you say, oh, don't bother going for an A. Don't set a goal. You might disappoint yourself if you don't get there. Would you say that to them? Or would you say, study harder? You want to get an A? You can get an A. Study a little harder. Instead of maybe studying the night before the test, why don't you study a few days before? Or maybe make a point of studying every night that particular subject, because you want to get an A. You want to move from C to A. So it's something you can do. Just work a little harder. You would actually encourage them to do what you thought was best for them to improve their grade, which would be a change in their behavior somehow. So the goal causes them to change their behavior. The encouragement would be set the goal to cause you to change your behavior, because that's going to cause you to move forward. Now, if they come home the next day and they get a B-, are you going to say, yeah, you failed? That's terrible. You missed it. You didn't catch your goal. Of course not. You're going to say, that's fantastic. You see, you're already moving in the right direction. You're going to be encouraging. So it is our role and our responsibility as leaders to help people set their goals. Just not only ourselves, but also members of our team. It's a responsible thing to do. It's a responsible way to behave, to set goals, because it's not about whether you achieve the goal. It's about what you would think and how you would think differently to achieve the goal. Last night, I was talking with my daughter, Sophia, and she's reading a book called 10X, something regarding 10X. And they said it's easier to 10X your results than to 2X your results. In other words, it's easier to get 10 times the result than 2 times the result. You're thinking, how the heck would that be possible? To get 2 times the result, you're thinking about doing things the way you're doing them now. To get 10 times the results you're getting, you'd pretty much discard 95% of everything you're doing now and come up with a different way of doing things. That's the game changer. So setting goals causes us to change our behavior or change our strategy. So my good advice to everybody is set your goals. Don't change your goals unless if they're goals that you want to improve on. Just change your strategy. Never give up on your goals. Change your strategy. The goal is what defines the strategy. The achievement of the goal or not achieving the goal allows you to reflect on the strategy and what you would do different if you had to do it again, which you then do again. You set the goal and you adjust the strategy. That is the responsible adult way to approach this. It's like this elastic. Set, work, set, work, set, work. And that causes that movement in the right direction. No goal, no tension, no change, nothing changes. So I strongly advise, strongly recommend you become somebody who's in the habit of goal setting and striving to achieve those goals and encouraging others to do the same. Because as my mentor said to me, it's not about the achievement of the goal, it's about the person you must become in order to achieve the goal. That is the critical exercise. One other thing I wanted to share with you was this presentation that I delivered on Thursday. I hope some of you were able to attend last Thursday. I did a presentation. This is the presentation that we're doing on Thursday night for those who are registered with the 18 Karat Gold Accelerator program. If you're not, you can either private message me or look in the chat for the document that says the 18 Karat Gold Accelerator team. The purpose of this team, once and forever, is to provide a path, a system, if you will. And I'm going to explain it in really, really, really basic terms. Think of your business. I'll get back to this in a second. Think of your business as a conveyor belt. Okay. There's 3 conveyors. Here, let's do it this way. I'll draw it out for you. Oh, my pen is suffering. Okay. So one is read interest. Second one is the products opportunity, vision. And the third one is, well, I'm going to do it differently. Why, how, and what. Okay. So there's your conveyor belt. I don't know if, let me just pull myself here, view speaker. Okay. And let me pin me. There we go. Okay. So what you got here is a conveyor belt. Starts with, you guys have all seen this image before. Here. Right? We've got the why, the how, the what. This, of course, is in French. Why, how, what. The 3 conversations, or basically the 3 conveyor belts. So you get somebody on the first conveyor belt, and the goal is to help them identify a motive for why they might want to approach DCAN as an opportunity, as a product, as a vision. Second is the how can DCAN solve the problem in my life? So this is the second conveyor belt. And the third conveyor belt is, okay, I want to do this as a business. Tell me what I need to do to be successful. So there's the why, the how, the what. Those are 3 conveyor belts. So if you've got 3 conveyor belts, right, you want to get somebody on the first conveyor belt. And if they are interested, you want to get them onto the second conveyor belt so that they can learn how DCAN can be a facilitator to their vision. And then if they like what they see from this second conveyor belt, they're going to decide whether or not they want to be a customer or a consultant. If they say, I want to be a customer, well, make them a customer. If they want to be a consultant, what does that even mean? What does that lead to? So you got to get them on the third conveyor belt. The third conveyor belt says what it takes to be a successful consultant, build an DCAN business, so we can define what it is that you're going to do to get started. What does that look like, etc. So this is the whole, change view, gallery. So this PowerPoint that I want to share with you again real quick from Thursday night's presentation is the what conversation. Share screen. So as I was just showing you, it's like a conveyor belt. That's what this launch strategy idea is. It's like a conveyor belt. We get people from our contact list into the first conveyor belt to determine whether they're interested or not. Those that are not interested are recycled back onto the list that may be interested later. Those that are interested, we get them onto the second conveyor belt. The second conveyor belt takes them to an understanding of how DCAN can actually be a solution. And they'll be a solution either as a customer or join as a consultant, which if they're in a consultant status, put them onto the third conveyor belt, which is what does it take to succeed? This process is a process. Imagine you're the owner and operator of this system of conveyors, okay? The goal is to get people onto the conveyor belt and keep them moving through one to the next. And then when you get somebody who gets all the way through the what conversation to determine whether they want to be a partner, what is a partner? Somebody who goes on the next conveyor belt. The next conveyor belt is the launch. What's the launch? It's an intensive of these conveyors. In other words, that conveyor belt operates at the speed, the first conveyor belt that is. That first conveyor belt is contacting people. Well, how often should somebody contact somebody if they're in a launch? Is it once a month? I call a prospect. Is it once a week? I call a prospect. Is it once a day? I call a prospect. Or am I calling 2 or 3 prospects a day or 3 to 5 prospects a day to get them onto the conveyor belt, the first conveyor belt? So that's a launch. A launch is just what's the speed of the rotation of that conveyor belt? Most people don't do a contact a day. In network marketing, few people do. But a professional of any consequence in any business of any kind is meeting with new people every day. Whether you're in insurance business, sales of cars, whether you're running a retail store, if you're not in contact with prospects every day, you're out of business. So the conveyor belt that's creating contacts, creating interest out of contacts, that conveyor belt is a daily. That's things running daily. Every single day, that conveyor belt is spinning. And depending on whether you're in launch mode or not, is how fast is it spinning? Like, are we doing 2 or 3 contacts in a day? Or are we doing 1 contact in a day? But it is every day. The next conveyor belt is, if I have one new interested contact, then I put them on that conveyor belt. How long does it take that interested contact from going from being interested to being a consultant or a customer? What's that process? What's that speed? Well, at least inside of a week's time, we should have a conclusion. Would you agree? We should have a conclusion. So we should have at least a meeting once a week that talks about this. Right now, we have the Tuesday night meeting on the online schedule with Jeff and myself tomorrow, which is the A Better Way presentation that's delivered there. That presentation is the how. So at least once a week, you've got to have your interested prospect given an opportunity to learn about how. If you're running a launch mode, you might have more than 1 a week. You might have 3 a week or 5 a week. You might use tools to make sure you're able to accommodate however many people are interested to get them into the how presentation. But I'd like to encourage everybody to think about having an in-home, your how presentation, your Better Way presentation, your Life in Balance presentation once a week. If you had that going, then you now have created a space and the need to fill that space with a prospect. So it's going to encourage the first belt to engage, because you now have a meeting you've committed yourself to. What do you think I do? I'm on this call every Monday. And now I'm doing Tuesday. This is my 3rd week doing it. And I'm doing Thursday for anybody who needs it on Thursday. And I'm committed to doing a Saturday. Like, I'm putting myself in the space, making the space in my calendar to accommodate those belts coming online. So as a leader, leaders create space. The people who are responsible for creating those conveyor belts are the ones who make the money. So if you're not running a conveyor belt or all 3, well, that tells you what you need to know. So start thinking about getting your conveyor belts up and running. If you're not going to create an event, leverage one. So the Tuesday night event is an opportunity for you to plug in your prospect to the Tuesday night event. The Thursday night event is for those who are interested in the business opportunity. So excuse me for a second, Maggie. So the reason why the 18 Karat Gold Accelerator team was put together was, we need to help people understand that this business is about moving people through those conveyor belts so that they can decide, am I interested? Am I not? Am I a customer? Am I a consultant? Am I a partner, as in a launch partner, or am I just simply a consultant? That's the process of the conveyor belts. And then the big event, which is at least once a month, that should happen at least once a month. The big event locks people in emotionally to why they want to really launch their business. And that big event right now is Nikan sponsored. The Seiko Kai and or the Master Day should help people turn the screws on and realize there's a business here. So the idea of this conveyor belt, of moving people through this process of conveyor belts, each one leads them to the next one. Each one leads them to a different way of thinking, a different level of commitment. And it helps them sort themselves out. So your job is to build the system or follow the system or leverage the system of these conveyors, putting people into this flow. And if, of course, it all begins with the contact list. So now you guys all have a contact list. if you follow the instructions earlier, you can build a new contact list and you can go about finding ways to create more contacts now that you know how to move people through that process. So be a launch partner if you want to be a sponsor of a launch partner if you want to be. Use the accelerator program, especially the 18 karat gold program, if you want to run a launch or if you have somebody you want to launch. Maggie.
Yeah, just to give an example of last week, I applied this this process. So the gal that came on the Thursday call, she came for an in-home on Tuesday, I think it was. Absolutely blown away with the sleep system. And I did a wellness home tour and, you know, found out what her areas were, which were finances and well-being, or body and finances. So then she came on the Thursday call with you, and it was so interesting. After she decided that she had too much on her plate to come on as a consultant, she'll be a customer. But the very interesting thing that I was really pleased with and didn't expect, she said that when she went onto that call initially, she had all this running in her head about network marketing, and, you know, her parents had a bad experience and yada, yada, yada. And she said by the end of the call, that was completely gone. She has she said, I see it's just a business model. It's not a scam and all those things that she had in her mind. So I thought, wow, now that's, that's a pretty cool outcome for that call. And Michael, you did a brilliant job. She was very captivated, and, you know, she may become on board later, and that's okay.
And thank you, Maggie. And imagine all of you. By now, last week's call was an invitation to anybody who wanted to participate, which means you didn't have to have a guest. And of course, it was weird because we had a guest. And so we had all these non-guests and a guest. I imagine if I was the guest, I'd have felt like, you know, who are these people? So it's not the ideal circumstance, but thank goodness she was there anyway, because it gave us an opportunity to actually present as though we would present if it was in fact for a guest, because it was. So everybody who was spectating saw that presentation the way it's supposed to be delivered, the interaction, the Q&A, and what was great too, really great, was the spectators were asked to participate with some stories at the end, which really made this thing. I got off the phone with Ben and it was like, man, that was really great. I said, can you imagine if everybody had a guest, how buzzing this meeting would have been? So that's the idea, guys. All hands on deck. If we engage, if you engage on all the things that we discussed tonight, just tonight, there is no reason in the world that March 9th can't be an absolute unbelievable launch of your Nikan career all over again, or just for the first time, because we have so many of the pieces necessary to create a story and to support the activity for anybody who's serious about building the business. So take advantage. That's the only thing I'm asking you to do, is leverage what's being put for you to create for you, your family, and your legacy, a life in balance. This is the time to act, not to think. It's action time. It's go time. So with that, thanks for joining, everybody. The recording of this will be available shortly. Please share with anybody who you think really needs to hear the stuff we talked about tonight. And thanks, Barbara, for your great ideas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, everybody.